Hello everyone, welcome back to the SATAMonkeys Podcast. I am your host, Earth the Fat, and today I'm joined by co-hosts Club Me.
Please.
Genshin Melon.
Thank you.
Ryan.
Hey, how's it going?
And not Smooth Brain. Not Smooth Brain at all. Sir Nico is not here because he's too busy playing ranked League of Legends. He couldn't make the podcast. And yeah, we got a decent few topics to talk about today, more than the last episode. We're also keeping with record on Wednesday, release on Monday, so this is being recorded on 11/4/2020, November 4th. Not gonna talk about the election shit unless we run out of topics, because it's just a can of worms at this point. With all this shit that's being said.
Run out of topics.
I doubt we're gonna run out of topics.
We got loads this time.
Yeah, and we're gonna start off strong here with GameStop's super cool TikTok contest. So GameStop here is an epic TikTok contest for their employees, where if you let's see here. I believe if you do some TikTok dance or some TikTok hashtag, the red wine challenge. I don't use TikTok, so I don't know what that is. If you do the red wine challenge and you're a GameStop employee and you win GameStop's thing, you were entitled to work 10 extra hours. Woo!
Or get a $100 Visa gift card, Amazon Echo Show 8, an Echo Auto.
For 10 additional hours of labor. It's great.
Yeah. Hopefully the 10 additional hours of labor would give you more money than the $100 Visa gift card.
Imagine if it was unpaid.
Never know.
I love that, how it's like you could win. It's not you could win the money from 10 extra hours of labor. It's you can work 10 more fucking hours. Like what is that supposed to? What, you just take someone else's shift? I don't it just seems really cruel, and it's cruel. It's a cruel way to reward someone, and it's also coming from a company who's not doing well and haven't been doing well in years. Like when's the last time you saw a GameStop pack besides last Thanksgiving? When 2 Thanksgivings ago, I think, when they were giving away free Xboxes. They
did?
Yeah, that's how I got 3 of them. Oh, I gave one to Rob. I took one apart, and I have one. Yeah.
Original Xbox?
No. Xbox 360s, but X360 Slims, not the red ring ones.
Oh, I never heard about that.
Yeah, the year before they did it with the original Xbox 360s, and then the next year they did X360 Slims, which was cool. It was buy 2 get 1 free, and also they're all free anyways. That was literally how they did it in their catalog. It was buy 2 Xbox 360s, get the third one free, and then on the next page it said Xbox 360s are you can get 3 free Xbox 360s. So it was literally just get 3 of them for free.
That is very strange.
Yeah, you had to, the way they did it was weird. We ultimately ended up paying for one of them because the third one free thing, they said it would work and it didn't, and my dad just never bothered to go bug him about it that it didn't go through properly. But assuming it did in a different GameStop, it would have been fine. You would have gotten 3 for free. We only got 2 for free, but
you still did get 2 free Xboxes, so you can't really complain.
Yeah. I remember that day. There's a dude. This was great. I'm pretty sure I explained this to Epic. I'm not sure, and Rob was there for it. I'm not sure if I explained it to anyone else. So when we stopped to go in, there was a huge line outside. And also, yeah, there's no way this was last year. This had to have been 2018. Huge line outside. Everyone surprisingly not waiting to get their free Xbox 360s. These were the. I think it was Thanksgiving. This must have been Thanksgiving Day. There's no way it was Black Friday. But I think that they just extended their sale to Thanksgiving and had a big sale on Thanksgiving. But we went there Thanksgiving. Huge line outside. No one really was waiting for the X360 Slims. We only saw 2 people come out with them. With a few. everyone else was trying to get the fucking PS4. They had some great deal of PS4, so they were trying to get that. But I remember one guy got out of his car and went in with a shopping cart. Or no. Sorry, no, it was a lawn chair. It was like one or he went in with the shopping cart and came out with 2 lawn chairs.
What?
He
How
went
do you
in. He went into
How?
the GameStop with a shopping cart and came out of the GameStop with 2 fucking lawn chairs. I don't know what happened.
GameStop have a sale on lawn chairs?
They didn't have any lawn chairs on the premises, to my knowledge. They must have. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how that happened. It was one of the dumbest things I think I've watched. And it might not even have been a I'm not sure if the shopping cart thing was I forget if he had one or not, but it doesn't really matter because how in the world did he walk in with a shopping cart or empty-handed and come out with 2 lawn chairs? Like how does that work?
Bartering.
Barter. Yeah, wait in the 20-person line to barter your shopping cart for 2 plastic lawn chairs.
Yep. As long as it was somebody else's shopping cart beforehand and you didn't pay for it, boom, that's a good deal.
Free lawn chairs.
So yeah, I also technically this is on a very technical level. It's not anything that's legitimate, but I technically got assaulted because they were trying to give out you guys remember Yokai Watch?
No idea.
It was like this kind of like how Bakugan was made solely to take on Pokemon. Yokai Watch was the same thing. They're these plastic disc things, I think, or some weird. It was pseudo Pokemon. It was Pokemon, but not. And they were really trying to promote the shit out of it. So they did a thing they just released a 3DS game, and I guess partnered with GameStop for Thanksgiving because they were just after every purchase they're just giving people these little little throwaway baggy things with yokai toys in them, kind of like those little Minecraft rubber toys you could get that come in those small packages, like fruit roll-up size packages.
Yeah.
Or fruit by the foot, not fruit roll-up. And they just after we got the Xbox 360, I just said, okay, here you go, and they just threw it at my face, and it hit my face. I'm like, oh, okay. Hi, Nick. Fashionably late as usual.
Maybe not fashionably, but
No, just wait.
We were just talking about how I got assaulted by the Yokai Watch toy at GameStop.
that sounds like a great story.
But yeah, that was an experience. The guy literally said yeah, here you go, and he threw it at my face, and it yeah, very cool. It wasn't even a good one because there's a Yokai Watch in that game or whatever TV show that's named Blandon, and I was really hoping I got the one named Blandon, and it wasn't the Blandon one.
It's actually Blandon. Or
yes,
is
it's Blandon. It's actually Blandon.
Nice.
It has nothing to do with being bland either. It's just it's this purple ghost looking thing, but it's called Blandon. But that got off topic. But I just wanted to mention me watching a guy going with the shopping cart and come out with the lawn chairs. But GameStop is great. This is
magical place.
Moving on here, we have Witcher 3 is no load screens for fast travel on the Xbox Series X. This is from GameSpot. And there's a video attached from _Xbox News on Twitter, showing, or it's a GIF, and it shows the loading times. How when you go to fast travel to a place, it takes 2 seconds, and it half loads the map, and then you're just there. There's no loading screens. I don't necessarily see how this is an improvement, and let me explain why here. So from my when you're playing a game like Witcher, right? When you're playing a big game like that that's mainly based on storytelling and stuff, you want to be immersed. What is more immersive? A loading screen, which I presume has info about the game or about the current story, and images related to it, or seeing trees and grass loaded in and nothing else for 2 seconds and then teleporting to an area?
I think that's more about how they implemented it, though. Because if they had, a little animation with, swirling or you getting off of like a wagon or something, that would have been a lot more immersive than just appearing in like a forest with a bunch of half-loaded assets.
True. But you have to keep in mind the game had loading screens, and those loading screens were probably long enough to make it seem like the character probably did hitch a ride on something to get there. So I get what you're saying. It just seems like they didn't change much of The Witcher at all. It seems more like just a port with support for the SSD stuff, rather than like a full change. So I understand why there's nothing new there, but I don't see why they're like, yeah, this looks great. This is good.
But it is exciting for like just impressive technology, I guess.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
I understand they're going to be doing basically the same thing with the graphics cards that are coming for PC now. If you have a 5000 series CPU and 500 series motherboard, I think.
Sounds right.
I cannot wait for that, and it makes me want to get a AMD GPU now.
I'd still hold out because we don't know if
I
AMD's
am gonna
GPUs
hold
are gonna be good.
Yeah, we're not sure yet, and they're probably gonna sell out really quickly, just like the 30 series.
Yeah, if you
Statistically,
And I
they
can't
look good.
afford it right now anyway, so.
well, I'm not sure. Just based on what AMD is giving out, their own charts and graphs, but again, like this is the same AMD that in their own graphs bolded Doom Eternal for no reason, and also didn't provide like numbers on one part of the graph for the Nvidia series.
That was kind of funny.
Yeah,
The
they
Golden
didn't.
Doom Eternal.
They didn't really. It seems like those were cobbled together.
Doom Eternal.
Yeah. So I'd want to wait until like Gamers Nexus or someone like that come out with some anything.
Yeah.
Anything related
That'll
to
be
the
cool.
to those graphics
I
cards.
already have an AMD system, so it wouldn't be difficult for me to upgrade, although I don't think I have a 5000 series CPU or motherboard. I'm not 100%.
I doubt you do.
Sure.
The 5000
Because-
series CPUs just fucking were announced.
Yeah, I'm not
They're
sure
not
how much
out.
they cost, though.
Like I don't think I have the 5000 series. Like they were just announced, Charles.
Yeah.
Whatever.
yeah.
All right. Well, moving on here. SpaceX's Starlink internet speeds are consistently topping 150 megabits per second. Now Elon Musk says the biggest challenge is slashing the $600 upfront cost for users. This is from Business Insider. And then the majority of this article just talks about how Elon Musk has said the biggest issue right now that for the most part internet's not dropping out with Starlink, is the price. The upfront price. The article title says they're slashing the $600 upfront and then doesn't talk about how it's being slashed and just says it is. So, but the price is still.
Starlink is the what's it called? The like his satellite internet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I see Starlink, and first of all, I want to say this is really good that Starlink is maintaining speeds of about 150 megs down. And it's been able to, or I assume down, because people don't promote their upload speeds, because upload speeds from ISPs are normally really awful. But I'm assuming that it's, oh yeah, and it says fastest download speed, so it's 150 megabits per second down. That's worse than what I'm getting right now, and it's
better than what I'm getting. So
well, either way, it costs way fucking more because you have a $500 or around $500 upfront cost, $400 depending on if you have your own router. And then it's $99 a month. And
That's
it's
kind of a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
honestly, we aren't the target demographic, so it doesn't really.
I
mean,
wouldn't say that. I disagree. The reason it costs so much is because it's a beta test. And the beta test is
Yeah.
called the Better Than Nothing beta test.
Well,
Um,
it's designed to be in rural environments, like
They
like in the
already
woods,
don't
basically deserts.
have internet.
I mean, theoretically, it should give you internet anywhere on the Earth, right?
Get Wi-Fi
Yeah.
anywhere you
I
go.
don't know.
Get Wi-Fi anywhere you go.
As long as they can actually like get their satellites up, which I'm not sure they'll be able to.
They're already
'cause
They
up.
have some
putting a
already.
lot
Yeah,
of
that's what this is
satellites.
talking about. They
I
already
know
have. They have 900 in
I
the
mean
sky.
their whole network. They're planning on having like hundreds up there.
They have 900
not-
up there.
Or, I mean,
900's quite a
thousands,
bit.
thousands. I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to make that work.
I
Cause it
think I
Go
don't.
ahead.
What do you mean by work?
partially I don't know if they can really get approval to put all of them up there. And I don't know how risky it'll be. Like with all the space debris.
Well, no, they've outlined in terms of the space debris. They have jet propulsion stuff that will propel it. I believe they said it will propel it back to Earth. If
Yes,
not,
it's a lower altitude than like the TV satellites, so they're designed to last a certain number of years, and then the debris goes into Earth. Yeah.
yeah, they propel themselves back down to Earth. And Elon said in the event that one of the propulsors or the propulsion system on one of them doesn't work, they're in Earth's orbit, so within it's like 1 to 5 years they'll just burn up. So there's
I
no
was
risk of it being
also-
space debris.
I was also referring to what if they get hit by space debris, because that's going to make a whole lot more. And if they're all in the same rough, like, height in orbit, then that might cause a chain reaction. I'm not sure if they're large enough to actually, like, make enough space debris from an impact.
They're not
I'm not
that
sure about
large to do that. The only thing I'd say is they're not gonna an impact like that, right? Would have to enter and exit Earth's orbit, like pretty much in one swoop, and also take satellites with it. Most things that enter Earth's orbit don't just exit immediately. They stay in it. So if it hits a satellite, it'll probably knock it out and probably knock out a decent few of them. But I think they'll stay in Earth's orbit.
I'm not referring to, like, external coming from outside of Earth's orbit. I'm referring to, like, there's still small amounts of debris that are getting closer to the Earth as they get all of their energy sapped away from, like, tiny bits of particles hitting them.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm
they're-
just
if those
wondering-
hit, they're not gonna. I guess what I'm saying is I don't see how they're gonna go into space and cause space debris. It seems like in every way possible, the only way for them to go is back to Earth. Whether it
I really
takes
don't think
5
space
years.
debris is a problem.
Yeah.
either.
Like they're
Like,
not
there's a lot of
outside of
space.
orbit.
And not very many satellites.
Yeah. Although it's intended for rural environments, one of my biggest hopes for Starlink is it can eventually start to kill like monopoly ISPs like Spectrum, Cox, and what's the other one? Comcast.
Well, the thing about the monopoly ISPs is that one of the strongest areas where they have monopolies is rural areas where there's only one option. And so with Starlink, if they can provide better internet in the rural areas, then the ISPs will lose their power.
Well, true, but then you have exception areas like where I live, where we don't live in a very rural area, but our only option is Spectrum, aside from Windstream, which give you like 50 megs down for $150, which doesn't even make economic sense for any company. So
Yeah,
and I'm
but
pretty sure they get their
Starlink-
service from Spectrum.
Starlink will be able to provide like global service and compete with everyone. So
Yeah.
What I'm excited for is the humanitarian aspect. If they can get it working over like Africa and then get all of the areas where you wouldn't be able to put down a cable because it's too risky or it's just economically not very feasible. I'm
Yeah. I
mean-
excited.
So aren't ISPs required to let you call like 911 no matter what service provider you have? Like if
Well,
you have
that wouldn't
service-
be an ISP thing necessarily, but I think
Well,
yeah.
that would be a cellular thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but presumably where there's internet, you could make a phone call even if you don't have like a phone connection.
That's
Correct.
decent. That's actually pretty cool then.
So
Yeah.
well, I'm just assuming that'd work, even if you can't like. And if that's the case, then you should be able to like call for help no matter where you are.
That,
The only issue I see there is how exactly is would law enforcement or a fire truck or anything be able to pinpoint your location when it's like, oh yeah, well let's just let's just bounce it off their phone. Where is it? Oh yeah, their phone's in space. Like that's what the ping's gonna look like. Oh yeah, all right. Let's send a rocket ship in the next SpaceX rocket, like the fucking Tesla Roadster Model 1 they sent up. We'll just go take care of it that way. Like, what are they gonna do?
I feel like
it also wouldn't work like on a hardware level, because the satellite dish costs a couple $100 for a reason, and you're not exactly gonna get that in your phone.
That's true.
Yeah. The other thing I'm thinking of though,
Like GPS,
it might be possible because there's already Wi-Fi calling. Like my phone has Wi-Fi calling.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, it could work. I just don't.
if you're referring to like, if you just have it set up to your router and your router's set up to, your antenna, I guess you're right. But
No.
then you have to haul around your antenna.
No, that's
and
not.
some way to power it.
You can make like Wi-Fi calls. You don't
Yeah.
need like.
It's
an
the
antenna.
name for what is it? It's like VoLTE.
Get Wi-Fi anywhere you go.
Get Wi-Fi. Okay. All right.
I'm referring to how you actually get the Wi-Fi.
Okay, they really have to make
Like-
that like the
router around and you're in the SpaceX antenna in order to get SpaceX internet.
SpaceX antenna. Oh. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah. How would you? Okay, that makes sense. How would you get service on your phone for Wi-Fi unless you had something that could detect it? Okay, that makes a bit more sense. I get what you're saying.
I think
That's an interesting thing to overcome, but then again, they've never said it would be for something mobile. So you just, I guess, what you have to assume they'd set up like public ground satellites.
Anything mobile probably won't be smaller than a van, so...
Yeah.
On the bright side though, it should help in areas with like earthquakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll help with disaster relief, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
They have to make the slogan "Get Wi-Fi anywhere you go."
They do. That'd be great.
And knowing Elon Musk, I don't think it's like not a possibility.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We should all add him and just be like, get Wi-Fi anywhere you go.
Starlink, get Wi-Fi anywhere you go. Retweets back. Hold up. Moving on to the next one. The Watch Dogs. Why do I have a lisp today? It's really cool. The Watch Dogs Legion source code has been leaked by hackers, according to reports. This is from Rock Paper Shotgun. Yeah, Rock Paper Shotgun. Jesus, I shouldn't even speak.
Wow.
Hackers have leaked the source code.
Ironic.
The ransomware gang known as Egregor is the one who did it. I actually remember Egregor announced like way back when Legion was just announced as like a game that's coming out. They said, we have the source code for the game and we'll leak it if Ubisoft don't do anything. And I'm pretty sure Ubisoft just said like, we're not concerned.
I mean, it's
Paraphrasing,
very
of
ironic.
course. It is very, very fucking ironic that the hacking game had all of its source code hacked. Apparently the leak says here is a whopping 558 gigs of source code for Legion.
But how'd they get the source code before the game was even like released?
Yeah, like
Beta maybe?
What they've said here, let's scroll up. Nope, down here. Where the fuck was it? Oh, here we go.
They said they got access to the network.
Oh yeah, Egregor said in case you. Oh no, they also said the developer is nominated not just for Hole of the Month, but also for Clown of the Month award. We found source codes in free access in the main network, passwords in the doc files without any protection, all the employees and developers' data and personal information, contracts, game engines, and a lot more. Guys,
Wait, so how they get access to that?
Their network, Ubisoft's network, presumably.
It's just, so all of that information is just chilling in the Ubisoft network.
Yeah, this reminds me of the PSN hack, but that's awful. The fact that they're saying passwords in doc files without any protection.
No
It's
encryption.
Like
Whatsoever.
the way you do that, right? you put all your passwords in a doc file, you print it out, and then you delete the doc file. You don't save the doc file. You just save the printed copy.
Or you encrypt it.
Well, yeah, but that's even riskier,
And
and
probably
they didn't
also
either
put
way.
the encryption key in
the file.
an unencrypted file.
Yeah. I'm not sure
That's
why.
the level of stupidity in modern corporate America.
Just who puts a password in a digital document? Like the way they're wording it is if I went to Google Docs right now and put in my banking password and just didn't do anything. And also, Google is now in this world completely unrestricted and not secure. It's like I'm just like, oh yeah,
that, like access to Google Drive or something through a password reset, and somehow like found a password on an employee's account and then just used that to get in. That'd sound really easy, actually.
The best part is, and I've looked into this. It is so easy. And I have to word it as if you know where to look, but I'll also say this is not hard to look for. You can, and this also does not involve anything related to the dark or deep web or any other bullshit term. You can literally half the time search someone's fucking username and find their username tagged in a password dump and find a password and log into that account. You have access to everything. So like the Google thing, me putting something in a Google Doc, even if Google has security, which they do, and I first of all, I know my password's not out there. I've already looked and made sure and double checked, triple checked, etc. But point being, like, that's not far-fetched. So the fact that Ubisoft's their network is so insecure that this could happen, their private network that only their employees and staff can access, not the public, is this easily gotten into, and 558 gigs of data are stolen without anyone noticing is amazing.
The fact that no one noticed, and then they literally said, "Hey, Ubisoft, we got your source code." Not to mention that they didn't. So did they take like the personal information, or they just noticed that it was there?
All the employees. They said they found all the employees and developers' data and personal info. They didn't say I'm not sure if they took it, but at the same time, I don't know. Apparently, the source code's been leaked. And I'm assuming if these hackers are going to leak something, they'll leak all of it. And there's nothing here saying that the hackers leaked the personal data, so I'm assuming they probably left that there. And to be fair, for the majority of those employees, it's not their fault. They probably assume their network's secure. So I would, even if I were a master hacker in their position and doing this shit, I'd probably too say, why would I take all this? Like, almost all these people are innocent, and there's like 20 people here from security not doing their job. You know, like, why would
just the fact that they like said, "Hey, Ubisoft, we got your source code," and Ubisoft's like, "Okay."
Yeah, I remember reading about it too. You guys can keep talking about it and move on to the next article. I'm gonna find the original one where they said we have the info, and Ubisoft's like, yeah, okay.
Well, if we're going to the next article, then Google confirms the Pixel 5 screen gaps are part of the phone's design and they don't affect water or dust resistance. That's cool.
Yeah, imagine having your screen separated from the glass and that being a feature.
I mean, it's not a bug; it's a feature.
Vehicle simulator moment.
They say it was between the side, because they say the screen and the body.
I heard that not every Pixel had that. Like I was watching a review of the Pixel 5, and
not everyone had it.
Yeah, he said my model doesn't have this, but some do. It's like, is it part of the design then? Is it?
It's not part of the design. I think this is actually probably like.
I think they're just saying that it's not like a big issue.
Yeah, it's not a big issue, and it's just the news site blowing it up.
Yeah, it depends on how big the gap is. If it's not very noticeable, and whatever, it doesn't affect anything. But if it's like really noticeable, that's an issue.
Hopefully we can assume that Google tested it and found it to not be a big issue.
Yeah,
all right, I found an article here. I don't mean to take over again, but I found an article here. It's not the one I originally found, and apparently it wasn't a year ago. I could have sworn it was. This is from October of this year, and I guarantee you this. Egregor mentioned doing this way earlier than that, but this one still gets the point across. On October 15th, Egregor, the same hackers, leaked like 20 megs of Ubisoft data and 300 megs of Crytek data. Crytek being, I believe, related to Crysis and also part of the engine that Far Cry and the Crysis series run on.
Yep.
Is they leaked, so that makes like 320 megs of data about it. And they said here, quote, "In case Ubisoft will not contact us, we will begin posting the source code for the upcoming Watch Dogs and their engine." The group threatened, promising to publish more data in a press release tomorrow. And that's it.
So
apparently, Ubisoft never reached out to them at all.
Do we know like the motivations behind why they're like hacking it?
We don't. It isn't clear, other than this ransomware group specifically target companies. It seems like just companies, networks, and leak stuff. But they seem in a way like Our Mine, if you remember the YouTube hacking group, where they go hack like a big YouTuber, and then they let them know on Twitter, "We got into your account. Your account's not very secure," and then they give the account back. It kind of seems like the same thing, where they're like, "Your shit's not secure. You should contact us, or we're gonna release it all because we want your stuff to be secure." That's the vibe I get. Although it could be them saying, "Contact us because we want money and we won't leak your source code."
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's pretty weird for a ransomware group to do something like, "Your stuff's not secure."
Yeah,
Here's
I
how we
figured
can help.
Ubisoft probably has like backups separate from their network, so it's not a huge deal. I don't know why you'd try and ransomware a big company like that.
Well, no. I think you're no. The ransomware. They're a ransomware group. That doesn't mean they installed ransomware in Ubisoft stuff. That's not what they did.
No, I mean, it says they stole and encrypted a bunch of their stuff, but I really doubt that it's like a huge issue for Ubisoft, because they've got to have backups and they've got to have separate offsite.
I think you're missing the problem. If they have, they most definitely have backups, but the problem is now this and the source code for Legion is now public. People can see how the game ticks. They can, and more importantly, with the online mode coming up, they can see how the networking works. People can start making hacks that where when you join their game, or they can potentially make hacks where when you join their game, they can log your IP. They can start, we can have the fucking GTA modded online scene in Watch Dogs Legion is what it's looking like.
Everyone gets DDoS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that the point isn't really that like their data's stolen, but they have backups.
I was
they
trying
do
to
have
make a
backups.
different point, and I was just using that as a stepping stone.
All right, go ahead.
But yeah.
No, okay.
Oh, you wanted me to continue? My bad. I thought you said we're continue on to like the next.
No, I said go ahead. Whatever.
article.
We will continue on to the next one. We talked about the Google Pixel 5 screen gap. By the way, isn't the Pixel 5 worse than the 4? Like in terms of the internals, didn't
I think it's supposed to be more of like a mid-budget phone.
Yeah, that's what I've read, and I remember videos about it. I just don't know why you'd. It's like if Apple released the iPhone 13 tomorrow, and it's just a substantially worse iPhone 12. Like, why is it under the same moniker?
I mean, you could wager that some iPhones have been downgrades.
No, yeah, but that's not. You're okay. Let's say OnePlus tomorrow released the OnePlus 9, and it's just the OnePlus 5T with worse specs than the 5T. It's a downgrade and maybe a bigger screen and like one more camera. It's a downgrade in almost all aspects, but it has the same number scheme, implying that it's better than the previous gen, but it's in fact worse. And
I don't know.
I believe the Pixel 5 is a Snapdragon 765 or something, which is a mid-range chip, but it's also substantially worse than the 845 and 835 that I believe they put in their previous phones. My OnePlus has an 835, and it's still going strong, and it's fine. And that chip's got to be cheaper to manufacture now because it's a decent bit older. Why they wouldn't just go with a chip like that is fine and more than adequate, and they cheap out and go so low as a 765. I don't know. I might be wrong about the numbers after, but it's a 700 series chip from in the Snapdragon lineup, and they're not great. They're outdated. They're old. So I don't understand this move.
I don't think most people need like a super powerful processor on their phone, because what are they gonna do? Play a bunch of 3D games?
Well,
Most people are just gonna
I
use
agree.
call, text, use Instagram.
Here's the
stuff
way
like
I see
that.
it, Charles. When the 835, for example, when it released, it was not it was the most powerful Android chip, but it wasn't the most powerful mobile phone chip, and not by a lot. Apple was beating it. Apple's chips for their phones, although they're impressive, they're overkill. Which in a way is really cool, because that means if you actually hold on to your like iPhone 11 and you don't fucking get rid of it the second the new one comes out, it'll probably last you a good 5 more years. Aside from the battery, you'd have to replace it, which is a pain in the ass, but you get what I mean. With the Snapdragon stuff, they're probably never going to catch up to Apple in terms of performance, but more importantly, either way you look at it, I'd rather have
I wouldn't
my
say
phone...
never, because you saw what happened with AMD.
True. I guess the point I'm trying to make here, I'd rather have at the very least, current generation chip in my phone, so that as it gets older and as it gets outdated, it can still function, rather than a last gen. And like, it being generations is what I'm referring to with that, is not like the 825 or the 815 or however they did the first few, but like a different 100 series, like the 700 series in terms of the Snapdragon. I wouldn't want to have that much of an older lineup in my current phone, because that chip is already seen as out of date, adequate but not great for everyday performance. And at that point, you're leaving any future with that phone up to how optimized the software is. And Android already fucking consumes battery, and it's already sending a ton of fucking instructions through the CPU. I wouldn't want to have a way older CPU in my phone. I'd rather have at least something recent. I'd rather have, I guess what I was saying is, it would make more sense for the Pixel 5 to have an 835 in it than it does the 765 or whatever 700 series it has.
Yeah, I can understand what you mean with that. Which is why I believe phone manufacturers should kind of do like the same thing that graphics card manufacturers do. Just release like 3, 4, 5 at a time, all meant for like different ranges of use scenarios and all that. Where you've got the very tippy top, which is super high quality processor, and then a whole load of RAM and a whole bunch of storage and all that, instead of just having like 128 gigabytes storage, 64 gigabytes storage, or 16. Oh.
Alright, well, apparently I'm an idiot, by the way. This is actually really interesting. I'm looking at this here. Man, yeah, well, first of all, apparently I'm a fucking idiot, right?
Yeah.
This is weird. The 765 is apparently better than an 835, but it bears a lower number. It's looked down upon. This is really weird. Let me see here. That doesn't... Hold on. Okay, I need to look at something here. Snapdragon 855 versus Snapdragon 765. How does the new stuff, like, how does the absolute new shit compare to the old shit? Let's see here.
I imagine the new chip's probably more power efficient or something, and that's why it's not as good. I don't know.
Let's add the 835 to this, compare. Let's go. That is interesting. Okay. Oh, all right. Okay, never mind. I understand a bit now of how the 765 is a bit better. It has a smaller nanometer process. That makes a bit more
Mhm.
sense. With that being said, the performance. Okay, the RAM speed on the 835 is just straight up worse, but that's whatever. There's actually, alright, I may do a separate thing about this next week. There's actually a lot of weird differences with these chips. Like the 835 has hardware assisted virtualization, but the 855 doesn't, and the 765 doesn't. Why? What's the discrepancy? I don't get it. The upload speeds this is really weird. I'll get back to this next week, because I'm actually going to look a lot more into this. I don't understand Qualcomm's naming schemes now, because for the longest time I was pretty confident that it was the lower the number, the worse it is. Like any normal company. I don't see Intel releasing the i7 4700K again, or the 4702K or something, and calling it the next gen.
It was just made to be cheaper or something. I don't know.
True. I'll have to look more into this, because apparently this thing doesn't say the 765 is actually better than the 835. It says it's like on par, and then there's other stuff that says it's on par but a bit better. Very interesting. I'll have to look more into it. I will fully eat shit on my argument there, because their naming scheme is kind of fucking weird. But moving on, so I don't make myself look like a dumbass anymore. Apple is expected to launch 3 new MacBooks with Apple Silicone next week. This is from TechSpot, by Adrian Podoroaka. And yeah, I believe Apple is going to be making... They announced it was leaked. I don't remember which, but Apple's going to be making ARM chips now. And they're going to be replacing the Intel chips that are currently in their Macs and stuff. What I find interesting is how, I don't know Apple's history with NVIDIA or if they have one, but Apple's always put AMD shit in their computers and stuff. And now that they're switching to ARM, it's really funny to me because NVIDIA just bought ARM. So, like, one way or another, they have NVIDIA shit in their systems now. But the one thing I've heard a lot of Apple users be scared of, that understand the differences between ARM and x86. You're not gonna be able to run x86 stuff on ARM, and vice versa. You can't run ARM stuff on x86. That's why it's really hard to run most Android apps on a Windows computer, even in an emulator, because you're on an x86 base, and a lot of those apps do really need ARM. And that's also why a lot of Chromebooks can run most Android apps, because they're built with ARM now. The Intel ones, I don't think they can run many, but Final Cut Pro, not Final Cut Pro. What is it called? What's like the big editing software on Mac? It might be Final Cut Pro.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong people.
I think it's Premiere.
No, it's not Premiere. Premiere is one of them.
It's not Premiere.
Melon, what is it called? Do you know what it's called?
I'm looking at it.
I know
I think it's Final Cut.
Final Cut, probably.
Yeah.
Because there's one on Apple or iOS devices that's like similar, and it has a lot of functionality, but it's not the same thing. It's a slightly different name. But the main thing people wonder, video editors, wonder, like, how is this going to translate? How are they because it means, first of all, developers are going to need to support for multiple years now. They're going to need to support both x86, and they're going to need to support ARM. And, Apple expects people to upgrade their iPhones like the second they get a new one, but I've never heard of people throwing away their old Macs year after year after year to get the brand new Mac. I don't think most people do that.
A thing.
So this is going to be you're effectively putting double the load on developers. You have to develop for 2 different platforms now. And I don't understand how well this is going to work. And further, Apple's trying to make it so now you can run some Mac apps on iPad and vice versa. So although those are ARM, I believe Apple's mobile chips are x64, I think. Either way, if they're ARM or x64, that's another platform you have to optimize for. It seems like it's going to be a shit show, and no one's talking about that part.
What I am excited for is potential more competitiveness with like Intel realizing they have to like step up their game and make more efficient processors and more laptop-oriented, powerful but efficient CPUs.
That's one way to look at it. And even if it would just be laptop stuff, that would continue to push Intel just in general towards actually making fucking competitive CPUs that isn't the same process again. Again, my favorite example is the fucking 9th gen where they soldered the IHS to the fucking the die, and they're like, yeah, woo, this is an upgrade. Liquid metal, never heard of it. But the big downside I can see for Apple doing the ARM thing is, first of all, the first generation of it's probably going to be pretty bad. Most first gen technologies like that don't end up being good. But third-party repair could suffer because of this. Apple's, I believe it's the
That is a very good point. Yeah.
I forget the name of the chip. I think it's the T2 chip. I'm not certain. It's T something. But their security chip, by the way, that they put in their Macs and stuff, that they just started putting in them, only recently, I believe, was only somewhat cracked by someone in third-party repair. But it made a lot of these Macs really hard or impossible to repair. Now that the more stuff Apple takes in-house, the less stuff that's predictable and that third-party repair can rely on to do shit with.
That's true.
And building off of that, with the most recent iPhones, Apple has started to the screen is serialized to the motherboard. I believe it's been like that since the iPhone 10. But the screen is now serialized to the board. If you don't have the screen that came with that phone, or unless you buy a JC1, which is like $200, it's a special tool you can get from China to reprogram the serial on the device. Unless you do that, your phone won't have the auto brightness shit. Like the screen won't have auto brightness. The home button's another great example. With a lot of the newer ones, if you don't have the home button that came with the device, or again, you don't have a JC1, I believe I'm getting that name right, then you have fucking problems. And I believe sometimes the home button just doesn't work, or it can be you can't do fingerprint shit. And there's one other thing they started serializing. I've actually forgotten what that was. It might be the charging port. But something that was just discovered. Yeah, that's what I was gonna get to. This was discovered like within the past week.
Yeah.
The camera's serialized. iFixit. I hate that fucking company, by the way. Fuck iFixit. But
really? Why?
I'll get to that after this. They're awful. But they did a teardown of one of the iPhone 12 models. I don't fucking know which one, but this probably applies to all the new ones. They had two of them. They swapped the cameras. I believe it was the back cameras. On both them, same exact, both original from Apple. OEM means original manufacturer, but these are original from Apple. They're literally certified Apple products. They swapped the cameras, and the cameras were fucky. Like they wouldn't zoom. They wouldn't do panoramic shots. They wouldn't.
What wasn't that Hugh Jeffries?
Hugh Jeffries did, but everyone's reporting the fact that iFixit did it.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember seeing Hugh Jeffries do it first.
If Hugh Jeffries did it first, I'm sorry for saying iFixit did. I hate him just as much as people who look into iFixit do. And I'll get to that in a sec. I'd love to talk about iFixit and how shitty they are. But yeah, the Apple's serializing the cameras now, and that is an awful fucking move because you're gonna have to buy another JC1 or whatever it's called extension board. It's a device that reserializes stuff. So whatever the name is, I don't give a fuck. But you have to buy another extension board for that you hook onto it, which is like $30. That will have the camera, the ability to reserialize the camera once they finally make that. But also, what else is serialized on this device that we don't know? Is the fucking earpiece serialized? Like, I hope not, but it probably is now that Apple's serializing the dumbest shit known to man.
Yeah, it's great how they're saying, oh, we love the environment, but we're going to make it so our phones cannot be fixed at all.
Yeah. And the best part, this pisses me off. Samsung, I'm positive I read somewhere that they're thinking of doing this now.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah,
which is awful.
Yeah.
You can
Louis
buy...
Rossman,
Go ahead.
in one of his new videos, I'm pretty sure they're serializing their screens or something like that. I'm not sure. what it is, but it's like on the newer phones. I think it might be like S10 or no, it has to be the S20 if they are serializing their screens.
Yeah.
Because the S10 you can still replace them. But like this serializing thing is absolutely terrible. Like honestly, I hope Right to Repair is able to stop this, which I don't know if it will.
I'm
But
not sure if it will at this point. And Rossman's even said in the past with Right to Repair, he supports it because it's it's a great thing to support, but he doesn't actually know or really think it'll end up going anywhere because of just it's a very big goal. The biggest
Unless
issue
we
I have
get,
was
like, the public on the side of Right to Repair and make it like an issue with some voters, we're gonna have trouble actually getting Right to Repair out.
Yeah. The biggest issue, back to Samsung, the biggest issue I have with them with the serializing stuff, I forget the website name, but I remember when I was working on a Galaxy S7, I found this. They sell their own replacement parts online. You can buy them from Samsung. It's from, I believe, a third party, but Samsung sells them directly to them, and Samsung is in the name, so they're a second party. That would mean, they sell them. They sell their parts direct to consumer. They're overly expensive compared to, like a trusted third-party provider like Wholesale Gadget Parts. Yeah. They're incredibly fucking expensive, but they do sell them. So are they just gonna stop that now? Are they just not gonna sell the consumers direct products? Because Samsung's one of the few companies that I kind of had a decent bit of respect for in that regard, because it's overpriced, but if you want to repair your phone, they're providing you the shit to do it. They will provide you the screen. They won't say your warranty covers that, because it doesn't, and I can understand why. But they'll give you the shit to do it. You're just gonna pay an arm and a leg for it. That pisses me off.
Pay an arm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to get into the iFixit thing too, by the way. I'm not sure if I've talked about this on the podcast before. I think I have, but I'm not sure if we ended up uploading that one. I'm pretty sure I did that with a guest host, and we just never ended up uploading it. But my experience with iFixit has been really fucking great. It's been amazing. So, first time I had an issue with iFixit, right? I ordered first of all, I ordered my ProTech toolkit. All that shit, it all came. It was all fine for the most part, but the rubber, they had these metal tweezers with hard rubber ends. They're like pricks. They broke like the first few days. They just kind of broke. They snapped in half. I'm like, that sucks. The replacements on their website are $2, but they said if you break it while you're repairing a device, or if it breaks for like no reason, they'll replace it for free. I never contacted them about that because it's a fucking $2 thing for a pair of tweezers I don't use because they include like metal tweezers in the same thing. So it was whatever. It was annoying though. And I did eventually end up buying replacements, and they broke. So I just don't bother with that specific tool. But when the big issue started, I had my iPhone SE. It was the original one, not the new one. The screen on it died. I'm not entirely sure why anymore, but if I remember it, that I never ended up figuring out why it died. I believe it just kind of died. With that being said, the aluminum on the original iPhone SE isn't great, because I remember I did drop it once. It got a dent in the top right of it, and I have a feeling that killed the display. So like overnight, the display went from lighting up to pitch black because of what's called ink bleed. That's probably why it died, thinking about it now. But at the time, I had no idea, and I still really don't know. That could be it. But whatever. I'm like, all right, well, I'll go to iFixit and just, buy a new screen. It was an absurd amount of money. Keep in mind, it's just a 720p LCD. It's the same one they use in the fucking iPhone 5. Like, it's cheap LCD. They wanted, like, I think it was $110 or something dumb, for that LCD. But either way, it was more than you could buy it for, like, an OEM one for on eBay. So I'm like, all right, well, I trust iFixit. I bought it. I took, like, over a week to come, which is more than it said it would take. I believe they said, like, it'll come in about a week, and it took, like, a week and 4 days, which is annoying when your phone is unusable.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I get the screen. I hook it all up and everything. and clip it in, close up the phone, and it works. I'm like, okay, cool. And I take it downstairs, and I'm just flipping through my phone for the first time in like over a week, and I noticed just some lines on the screen, and I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, all right. I went back upstairs, took it apart, put the screen back in again. It worked fine again for another 5 minutes. And then it started having those lines. I'm like, all right. So then I took it out. I examined it to make sure there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing at all wrong with it. Looked it over like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, okay. Put it back in as carefully as possible. And that time it worked for like 10 or 15 minutes. And then I was using it downstairs. I put pressure on it to, touch an icon, and I saw it kind of fizzle, for lack of a better term. It just got kind of weird, and I'm like, that's weird. So I decided to test it. I put my thumb down, putting very slight pressure on the screen, and it turned off. I turned the phone back on. It turned off because it was out of battery, though. It wasn't like I pushed down the screen to kill the phone. There's no way that would even work in the first place. But I was turning it back on, and I pushed down it, and I just saw the screen just slowly fade out, and then it died. And I'm like, what the fuck? This makes no sense. I triple checked the screen to make sure I didn't damage it, and I didn't. Me touching it killed it. Me touching the touch screen killed it. Made a ticket with iFixit. They tried for 4 days to kind of dance around, saying it could have been their fault, saying they quality assurance check it before it gets shipped out. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm telling you, it died after a half hour. And they did refund me for that one. That was good, although they shouldn't have tried to dance around it. And take note of this. They answered their phone. Epic knows what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
Take note of this. They answered their phone. So, okay. I got rid of my SE, got my OnePlus 5T, best fucking phone I've ever owned. This thing's a fucking brick. Really, honestly, really indestructible. Right, I did that. I won't now, but I did that earlier today. It's still fine. So it's for comparison. I accidentally, the first day I got my 5T, it literally slipped out of my hands and slammed into wood. It has a permanent dent in the bottom. Literally works fine. There's a dent in the back of it because it fell on something. It works fine. I'm not a klutz with my phone, but when this thing weighs a ton, and when you're in and out of computers, you're standing up and crouching down a lot. It slips out of my pocket and falls on the shit. I can't help that. So, But it's a brick. It makes up for it. My SE, I didn't drop a lot, so the one time I did drop it, I guess that may have killed the screen like a day later. But other way, let's get to the next bit. So, Galaxy S7. I was repairing a friend's Galaxy S7. Family friend's Galaxy S7. Screen dead. Need a new replacement screen. My first time ever heating up the adhesive on a phone and getting into one that was IP rated. Got into it well. I had problems with the back glass.
Always practice on your friends.
Well, it's an S7, and I was confident I could do it, and I did do it. But the back glass was a problem, but I paid out of pocket for good quality back glass to make sure they didn't, because I got scammed on that 3 times in a row because eBay's fun. But ultimately too, they got a clear glass phone in the back, or clear back glass phone out of it. So I think that's a pretty, it looked pretty good in the end. But I got the screen off, the original screen off. Went and bought one from iFixit. It was $200 and something, which those screens still cost a lot, but I think I found them for as low as $160. They're not super expensive. And granted, it's been a year, but the S7's already super old anyways, so that doesn't change the price as much anymore. But either way, as usual, iFixit was overpriced. I'm like, I'll give him another go. And keep in mind, this guy was paying for the screen. The family friend, not me. So I need to make sure I made the right choice, and I trusted iFixit. I get the screen. As carefully as I think I've ever held anything, especially because it's someone else's 200 something bucks. They're on Social Security. They don't have a job. So this is a ton of money for them. So I'm like, I'm not fucking this up. There's no way I'm fucking this up. And I did not. I literally went as carefully as I could, applied the new adhesive as carefully as I could. I bought extra adhesive too. I bought a 10-pack of it because I knew I'd fuck it up, the adhesive up at least once, and I did. But I bought a 10-pack. But in terms of putting the screen on, literally did everything textbook. It couldn't have looked at, like, it looked better than it did when I took it out. Like, in terms of how lined up it was with the phone. And I turn it on, and it's fine. And not 5 minutes later, after setting it down on a coaster, the backside down too, not screen, just setting it down on a coaster, not a hard coaster, not a coaster with a spike on it, just an average wooden coaster. I pull it up again, and there's ink blotting coming down from the top right of the screen. Me installing the screen normally killed the fucking screen. That's 2-0 for iFixit. 2 screens now. Same problem. Once it's installed, it just fucking dies. Really cool problem. Very cool problem. Very great. Loved it. Amazing. I love when my screen dies when I put it right in. I was infuriated. So, called up iFixit.
You think it might have been shipping?
No, because there were no issues with it. The only thing I noticed, is that I noticed this very, very late. But there's no, first of all, the way iFixit ship their stuff, the chances of it being shipping are very, very small. The phone,
even if it was shipping, it would already show up DOA anyways.
Yeah, the chances of it working like that after being a shipping defect are small, especially because if you see the way iFixit ships stuff, I'll give them credit for this. It's not breaking in the box. It's so heavily padded and protected. It's not breaking. The chances of a shipping defect are so small, you'd have to have the box literally thrown like 50 feet in the air and then hit with a baseball bat. Nothing's happening to it. But I noticed at the very end, there was a hairline crack on the LCD panel itself. The glass was fine. No anything to show that the screen ever flexed. But that entire time, there was a hairline crack there. Now, the reason I think it got past the quality assurance stuff, when you were looking dead at the screen or even at an angle, you couldn't see it. I only saw it when I shined a flashlight like right at it. But more importantly, when I turned the screen on the first time, even with that hairline crack, there was no ink blotting. It was fine. So I think they just saw that it turned on and shipped it out. They say they have amazing quality assurance, but 2 times in a row now I've had screens that died, and one of them, there's an obvious defect. There's a crack in the LCD, or the OLED panel. It's not an LCD, the OLED panel, and they didn't even notice it. So I emailed them, and I think I called them once and they answered. Again, take note of that. I called and emailed them. Actually, no, I couldn't call them, except for one time. But I couldn't call them, because I remember most of it was through email, and I can check through. They did refund it after me continuing to fight back against them, trying to say it could have been my error, and I'm like, no, I did this better than textbook. It wasn't me. They eventually refunded it and took the screen back. Never heard back from them on if they found anything of why it was defective, because they acted like they might tell me something. They never did. That was that experience. Ultimately, that's why I found the site Wholesale Gadget Parts, who sold OEM S7 screens for cheaper than fucking iFixit's shitty screens that break. And that one worked fine. And I also did the same exact shit with that one. I set it down on a coaster. It was fine. And just to prove that it worked, I knocked really hard with my fist on the glass, and it was fine. And it's still fine. And it still works. So that was that. I know I'm rambling, so I'll wrap it up here. But now here's where the phone part comes into play. So I had some issue with them. This kind of stemmed off of the S7 thing, with the screen not working and them not really responding on the phone. Because when I called them, it said, please hold for a customer service agent. It would ring twice, 2.5 times, or 3 times, depending on when you called. And then it would immediately go to voicemail. Now if you call them, I believe it's 2.5 times every time. But it was like, okay, that's weird, because I'm calling during office hours. There's 4 hours till they close. And more importantly, if you're helping other customers, why am I not put on hold? Why am I hung up on? Why does it just say to email them? Really weird, right? So I decided, all right, let's see what I can do about this. And also, my replacement rubber for those tweezers had broken, and I wasn't very happy. I'm like, let's give them a call. I called them. Same shit. And I'm like, next day, I'm like, let me try this. I called them 4 or 5 times that day. same exact ringing, like 2.5 times, as well as them saying they're helping other customers, right? No, and you also don't have an option. You have an option to leave a voicemail, but that's it. And they say to email you. They say to email them. So I'm like, this is interesting because now this is multiple days in a row and multiple times calling today where they're too busy to answer the phone. So one day, although I only did this for about 5 hours, I called every hour. Nothing. The same shit. And at that point, Epic will remember this. I've just kind of every now and then I just call iFixit and they get the same shit. And you call iFixit and you get the same shit. They're helping other customers and they can't answer the phone right now.
You think they blocked you?
No. Because if they
No?
blocked my number, I wouldn't be able to get through to call with them. And I had also tried on multiple different numbers. And
Well, maybe they use some software they already had for voice over internet.
difference is when I'm not talking on a phone, I mute. And for a long time, it would have never been clear to anyone that this other phone number was related to me because there was nothing stating it was. The ringtone, if you called and left a voicemail, was "Bustin'," the meme song. There was no way they would have known that was me. I was silent in those calls, and it was the same shit. I believe I had Rob call at one point to test if I was blocked, and he got the same exact thing. So I wasn't blocked. I think I might be now, and I'll explain why. But I wasn't blocked. So
Oh boy.
this kept going for a year of me calling at random times and them never ever being able to respond to calls. I emailed them, I believe, 2 separate times, at least once, asking representatives, why is nobody answering the phone at all? And they responded, oh, well, they're busy helping other customers. Like, they're just gleefully unaware of the fact that no one's answered the phone for a year. And I'm like, they're not. And I can prove they're not. And my proof for that would just simply be calling every 5 minutes on different numbers. And guaranteed would get the same shit that they're helping other people. There's no way there's no way within an hour's time they don't move on to at least one other call, And more importantly, there's no way you can say you're helping other customers and then immediately hang up on someone. And also it's 3 rings for every single time. Very clear that they just weren't taking calls, which is false advertising because they do advertise on their site in multiple places that you can call them at these specific times and they will answer. And if they don't, then to call them back. They don't provide over the phone support despite the fact they claim they do. I started leaving voicemails saying, why do you guys state that you provide over the phone support when you don't? And they didn't respond. So I had a little test I ran. And this really proved to me that they're not helping anyone. One time I was mostly just pissed that they hadn't responded. It had been well over a year. But also I wanted to test something. I called and my voicemail I left and I was just screaming into the mic. I just went like, let me turn my mic volume down. Ah! Right?
Oh, that got automatically lowered or something.
Yeah, no, I turned it down on my mic so I didn't ear rape on the...
All right.
Yeah.
I see.
I called and just did that. Then I contacted Gamers Nexus Steve from Gamers Nexus, and tried to tell him, hey, I've had a really, really bad experience with iFixit, and I told him that, and he had just done his expose on NZXT, which, by the way, part of it, we SATAMonkeys actually helped bring to light and show to Gamers Nexus. If you watch his video, we're actually in that thread. We're the ones who added him and alerted him to part of it. It was in regards to NZXT saying that overclocking RAM was not supported under their warranty when they also advertised that same pre-built with overclocked RAM. Very cool NZXT, but they changed that. But we broke that story to Gamers Nexus. So I was confident like maybe Steve would want to do something, but either way, Steve is does advertisements with iFixit. Like they sponsor him. So he has contacts with them. So I contacted Steve. He added their like head of marketing or some shit in the email chain or head of something. I've seen their name before though. They reached back out to me and said like, unfortunately, we won't be able to help you. They said like, we have not received any reports of any issues from you. Also, we don't appreciate you screaming into the microphone on the phone, and as such, we will not be answering any more calls from you. So they're acknowledging that they are getting my voicemails there, and claiming that I've no outstanding issues with them, as in like I've never opened a case with them or tried to talk to them or anything, when the only way that they would be able to know that I screamed to the mic is by listening to the voicemails. And if they listen to those, they'd also know that I left about 20 saying that I need support for a broken screen and the fact that they didn't respond, and also that I had broken tools and I need to explain that to them. So they just in effect actively told me that they're completely ignoring calls requesting help, because the only thing that gets them to act is when I report it to Gamers Nexus and scream on the phone, so they have an excuse to not help me. It was very easy to tell.
I mean, you shouldn't have screamed into the phone.
Oh no, I shouldn't have, but that was part of the test. That got them to actually respond to me in relation to their phone system. That was the only thing that got them to acknowledge anything related to their phones when I contacted them, is me screaming into it. But if the only way for them to notice that is if they're actively checking their voicemails, and if they're actively checking their voicemails, they're actively ignoring my request for help. So, in essence, they indirectly admitted to ignoring their voice, or not ignoring their voicemails, but ignoring requests for help, because they were actively listening to voicemails, just doing nothing about it. So it's kind of ignoring, but ignoring requests for help, saying they have over-the-phone support when they don't offer over-the-phone support, and if you call them, they do not respond. They don't do anything. They just say to leave a message or to email them. They're never available to talk to. Every screen I've bought from them is broken. I've had shit from their toolkit break multiple times. They're not a great company. They sell, at least in my opinion so far, overpriced screens that fail in like 5 to 30 minutes, mostly around 5 minutes, and they false advertise over the phone support. Further, a more recent experience I was taking apart an HTC Vive HMD, and I was trying to look up a tutorial for how to do it. iFixit is one of the only tutorials. Well, they actually left out the part where there's 4 extra screws that you are supposed to take out. So I almost broke the entirety of the HMD by ripping something off because I didn't know it had 4 screws. Why did they leave it out? I suspect it's because their own screwdrivers can't fucking reach the screws. So they just left it out of the teardown. It's such a bullshitty thing. If you're gonna do a teardown and you don't have the right shit, at least admit to it. And now, after I had been my eyes have been open to them doing that, I'm noticing it now when I go to look at any of their teardowns. Like their I just did some shit. I just took apart an S9 Plus. Watched their teardown on that. They're like, yeah, what you gotta do, you just heat up the back glass and you just slip something under there and just cut through the adhesive. Well, they had already had it pre-done. They had already cut through the adhesive once and done that. What they literally did, they just kind of lightly put it back on the phone and just slipped their giant fat guitar pick tool underneath it, under the curved glass. Like, oh yeah, and then it just pops up a little bit and you just slice it. That's not how it works. That actually cracks the glass, and it's also too big to fit through. You actually need super duper thin tools to use the metal back to carefully slice through, heat up the phone up probably 6 different times to get through without cracking the back glass. They act like it's just so easy. They deliberately leave out shit that probably ends up killing people's phones because they try and do exactly what iFixit says, and they break, like on the S9, they'll break their back glass. Because iFixit says, yeah, you just slip this in and it's just super easy. They're going to try and keep doing it. They're ultimately probably going to go to a metal tool and try and do it the same way and just flip up part of the glass and break it. Because that's what I did. I followed what they said to do. It pisses me off. They're not a legitimate repair company. If you look at some of their more recent comments, especially on the S9 video and the Vive one, or the S9 Plus video, they say the similar shit. Like, why are you leaving stuff out? Your whole point as a company is meant to be showing people that they can do something. So you deliberately leave out steps that would cause them to break their device, ruining part of the the right to repair movement, because iFixit support it, and then they do shit like this where they don't tell you how to repair it. So that's my rant about iFixit. You guys can commentate on that because I've said my piece. I'd love to hear some of your opinions on it though, because I'm the only one I know of anyone I've talked to who's had this many issues with iFixit and found this many things wrong with them.
Well, I know we're not getting a sponsorship from iFixit now.
But I say that we should just go full steam ahead and try to wrap things up.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
we
I
have
want to
been
add
on
one
for
more
quite a
thing to
while.
the right to repair. Apparently, Tesla told people to vote against it, which if it's
That's
actually
fucked.
true, that's a really bad thing for electric cars in the future.
Tesla's
True.
already very anti-right to
Yeah.
repair.
But
Yeah,
there's also no, that probably wouldn't affect it. I was gonna say maybe it's because they're afraid if they let other people fix it, then they won't bring the car batteries in so they can be recycled, but I don't think that's a huge issue.
yeah, I don't know, especially the car batteries are gonna need to be replaced at some time, and probably the
Mhm.
motors too.
And you're gonna have to recycle those. You can't just
Yeah.
throw away a car's worth of battery
No.
every time you have to replace it.
Just imagine
That's
walking
just
into
a
the
massive
fucking.
waste.
Just imagine walking into Best Buy. Like, hey, where's your recycle your e-waste bin? Oh yeah, okay. You're just bringing an entire car's worth of fucking battery cells. Just dump it in. They're like, what the fuck? Thank you for the free fire hazard. I appreciate it.
So this is Best Buy.
Yeah.
Sir, this is a Best
This
Buy.
is Best Buy.
We're not a landfill.
So, sorry. It drives around to the Geek Squad that's connected to the Best Buy, drops it off there. Yeah. All right, we'll wrap it up here with the Oh man, we still have a decent few topics here. Guys, which one should we do?
Actually,
We should do the
the
Pokimane one.
graphics.
Which Pokemon one?
Oh yeah.
The Pokimane one.
All right, so this is a article from Kotaku, but this was also an announcement Pokimane game on stream, so I'm not gonna really give Kotaku much more credit than needed because they're not a great news reporting website. But Pokimane has a new $5 donation cap on her live streams. She did this in collaboration with Streamlabs, which I believe are owned by Logitech. So it really is in collaboration with Logitech. But it appears to be I guess, anti-simp. I guess to prevent people from donating $20,000 to Pokimane.
She said that she doesn't need any more money.
If you anti-simp, just look at her chat.
Yeah,
on
the guy
screen.
saying, "Are you pregnant?"
Yeah.
Queen, pretty,
but I can't.
shoddy, bad ASF.
I love your hair, Pokey. It's just the same hairstyle she's had for the past 20 billion streams.
Anti-simp. I don't know about that one.
So
Either way, yeah.
Do you guys know the streamer Tyler One?
Oh, yo!
Yeah.
Okay. So I saw Tyler One reacted to this, and he said he thinks he should do the same thing because he's tired of fake reacting when people donate $100 and he has to
That's T1 for you. He's already got that money from joining the organization of the acronym for his name, so he's good. T1, dude. I think it's
T1 squared.
I think what Pokimane's doing is really cool. I like either way.
You're getting quiet.
It's very
I don't really like Pokimane, especially the drama she's trying to get in.
I just don't think she's
she
funny,
tried to stay out of drama by getting into drama.
What she's doing here is still respectable. You gotta
it is. It makes me think a little bit more of her, but at the same time, I've not been a fan of her.
Yeah, I don't know. Every now and then, the only reason I'd ever watch Pokimane is if I'm bored as fuck, I have nothing to watch on YouTube, and I just need something for background noise. So I'm like, Pokimane streaming, it's somewhat entertaining.
I've never watched Pokimane. I've watched offline TV though.
I've legitimately.
I was gonna say the same.
Yeah, I've legitimately avoided offline TV podcast clips and Among Us videos because Pokimane is in there.
I don't I wouldn't avoid Pokimane actively. It's not like she's committed a murder.
Big Twitch streamers really don't need the money, and so I feel like if this starts a trend, that'd be good. And you got to give her credit for doing this because even if you don't like her, it's still a respectable thing to do.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I don't know. I feel I'm not sure how to feel, and this will forever taint my feelings on Pokimane, because I remember, and Epic will remember this, I accidentally subscribed to Pokimane when I first got Twitch Prime. I literally she had some stupid pop-up on her stream that said like click me to subscribe, and I just clicked back from a tab into a different tab, and I clicked that and it insta-sub. And I'm like, oh great. And luckily I called Amazon and they just gave me another free sub for the month. I'm like, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, they understood. Thank you, Jeff
Secretly,
Bezos.
you're like thinking, I got away with subbing to Pokimane for free.
No, I remember Epic. I joined to call you. I said, hey, I subbed to Pokimane today. So my feelings on that will forever be somewhat tainted, because I did accidentally sub to Pokimane at one point, and it will now forever say resubscribe on her thing instead of subscribe, and it is quite disappointing to see, but it was an accident.
Hilarious.
But
Imagine being on stream and like you go on a Pokimane stream just to look at something and it says resubscribe, and your entire chat just fills with simp.
Yeah, no, I know I have explaining to do if I ever showed that on stream, but I don't know. I respect Pokimane's decision. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Tyler One's reasoning for wanting to do it is amazing, as per usual. It's Tyler fucking One.
I do not want to fake react to $100.
Yeah. I'd want to see this type of shit with like Shroud or Ninja, especially Ninja. Ninja doesn't fucking need the money.
I remember.
Wait, where does Ninja stream now? Is he back on Twitch?
Yeah.
So he just got like $1 million donation, and now he's back on, or like he got paid like millions of dollars to switch platforms, and now he's just back on Twitch.
Mixer is literally dead. I don't.
Yeah,
what
I
else
don't
is he
fucking-
supposed to do?
I just think that's hilarious that Mixer paid him millions of dollars, and then it didn't work, and now he's back on streaming Twitch, but with like $1 million in his pocket.
Yeah, it's funny
Yeah.
because from what was reported, Mixer offered like they're like, you can double your contract if you go with Facebook. He's like, no. So Mixer was forced contractually to just pay him millions of dollars. It was like $30 million, I think, for streaming for like what, 6 months, 8 months.
Oh my god.
It's great. And then Twitch gets a contract with him again. From what I've heard, it's substantially less, which makes more sense because they don't have to be competitive with Mixer. But it just goes to show how Mixer Mixer could have done things a lot better. But that's a whole other thing to get into.
I mean, yeah, it would make sense to do a lot more smaller contract with smaller creators instead of just getting one big creator and no one else.
yeah, the whole point of like having a streamer that is paid by the website to be there is that when that streamer's done streaming, they'll go to other big streamers that are also paid by the website, or they'll go to other streamers. Not only did Mixer not have a streamer base to really do that with, but more importantly, Mixer also didn't have a way to do that. Like after stream was over, you would have to navigate back to the main page. They kind of screwed themselves.
Yeah, that's just awful. People
Yeah.
just go to Mixer until Ninja's done, and then they just go back on Twitch.
That's literally what they do.
Had like a decade or more to work on like how their navigation, how their all that crap works. And Mixer was just like created how long ago?
Mixer was originally started as something called Beam. I think it started in like 2015, 2016. I remember Melon was one of the first, not first, probably 100,000, at least 10,000 probably to stream there. I remember you streaming to Mixer, Melon, for a little bit. But Mixer, to be fair, Charles, that's one way to look at it, but the other way is they've also had 10 years to study what Twitch has done and what YouTube's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's Microsoft. It's not fucking startup
Yeah, it was
Timbuktu version 3. They could have very easily made it work. They had everyone to study from, and they just kind of didn't.
I'm sure if they made it bloatware, then more people might use it. Like Skype.
Oh
boy.
God, fuck
Ooh.
yeah, Skype. Skype is great. I love having Skype dude. I will reboot sometimes and Skype's reinstalled, and it fucking pisses me off. I swear. I remove it and I reboot and it's back. I don't know how.
I don't know why they tried bringing it back, because Skype just died as soon as Discord came along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason people used Skype was because it was better than TeamSpeak, because you didn't have to pay for it. But
or you didn't have to host a server.
yeah, Yeah.
Definitely wrap things up though. This has gone on for.
Well, one thing I also want to say about Mixer, something funny about it is it's literally still integrated into Forza Horizon 4. Like there's certain things that you can only get in the game by streaming to Mixer.
If I remember correctly, I forget what it was. I saw it recently. There's a couple like games or something that still have Mixer listed as like a thing you need. Like Epic's not wrong. They just haven't updated it at all, and it's really great.
Yeah, like
I don't know. As someone who streamed a Mixer for a short time when Melon was as well, I did a few streams there. There's no one fucking on Mixer. Even when Ninja was there, people would just go back to Twitch.
There's very little people on Twitch too.
Well, no. Because I can stream fucking modded Minecraft with one other person right now and get 8 viewers, and I don't almost ever stream now. I stream once a week or once a month, and I can pull a decent few viewers that I've never ever seen before. There are enough people on Twitch to go around, but on Mixer, even granted pre-Ninja, but even so, apparently post-Ninja wasn't very much different. There's no one.
Pre and post Ninja.
Pre and post Ninja. But yeah, we've gone on for a while. We were at an hour and 25 minutes now, about to hit an hour 26. Thank you guys for watching. This has been a very big episode. It's gonna be really fun to edit. It's gonna be great.
Fat. Okay.
Okay, Nick. Yeah, a very fat episode to edit. Yes. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been Fat, Club Penguin or Club Me Melon Rap, Ryneeks, fucking Sir Nico. I almost said Swole Nico.
Swole Nico.
Swole Kylo Ren. Signing off. See you guys next time. SATAMonkeys.com.
Goodbye.